Good evening, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge, presented by Georgia Alabama Sports Live. I hope you're enjoying your Wednesday, as we have got a great show for you. As we have the NFL Divisional Playoffs that are coming up, I couldn't think of a better guest to get on the show than a lifelong Green Bay Packers fan. You remember him back in the days in Sports Talk Radio in Columbus. He was the host of a show called The Press Box with Bobby Z. Please welcome to the Sports Beat, Bobby Z. How are you doing?
Hey, Richard. I'm doing good. Freezing. It's pretty cold up here.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the weather and the snow you've been getting, and it must be really, really a lot of snow and just being shut in. But I hope you're doing safe, and I hope that you're able to stay safe. Yeah. But Bobby Z, okay, so you were a big staple in Columbus in the early 2010s with the Press Box of Bobby Z on 95.7. I've had you on the show before, just getting an introduction on you and your broadcasting career and really catapulting the careers of others like Josh Pate, Jonathan Shushke, Jonathan Bam Rivers, my broadcast partner Thrip Behringer, which we plan on doing a Georgia Alabama Sports Live show next week. We would love to have you on. And then WRBL's Tyler Redmond. Just a lot of great broadcasters. I'm just glad you're back on because you're Green Bay Packers. You're a lifelong fan. I'm a lifelong fan of the San Francisco 49ers. Once again, they are playing in the playoffs. These two teams have met more than any team in the history of the NFL, and they meet again.
Yeah. One more time, huh? know, I'm just grateful to be here. We're so young. So young. Expectations were pretty nil going into the season. Just wanted to see Jordan Love progress, see how these young kids could do, with some playing time, and let's see what happens. Goody put together an incredible draft class last year, unbelievable, and they're all playing. There's 11 of them that are getting playing time right now, like extensive playing time. So doing what they did last week to the Cowboys, I have to say I was a little bit surprised. I think a lot of people were. But, when you tell some kids they can't do something, probably not a wise thing to do. Because these kids, they can come in there, Richard, and win this thing this weekend. I don't expect it to happen. But right now, I feel better with Jordan Love at quarterback, running Matt LaFleur's offense, and Aaron Rodgers running his own offense. So with that being said, if we go up there and we at least keep it close, these kids got some great experience. They got one playoff game under their belt already in their first season together. So if they go up there and win this thing, sky's the limit. But I'm not saying they're going to. San Francisco is the better team. They are more physical. But I don't think these kids are afraid of getting punched. They punched Dallas in the mouth right off the bat last week. And if they can do that again, they'll be in the game. However, San Francisco could punch the Packers in the mouth, and this could get ugly.
I think the key to victory for Green Bay, or at least to be in this game with the Niners, is Aaron Jones. So in the last 4 games, he's rushed for over 100 yards, but the 49ers have not allowed a 100-yard rusher all season.
Yeah.
It's going to be strength on strength.
He's fresh. He's had injuries this year, so it's put him on the bench. He's running with a purpose. He knows he's 29. There's been talks about the Packers moving on from him next season. I don't think that'll happen now after what he's done since he's come back from injury. You said he's got 4 100-yard games in a row. He's never done that before. Yeah, you're right. He's the key. And I think McCaffrey, too. If the Packers can hold him to, I don't know, what's the number, 60-some yards, 80 yards, under 100. Let's say under 100. If McCaffrey doesn't go crazy on us, then I think our secondary is young, but they've been coming up with some plays. I think that'll be the key for us, is to limit McCaffrey to under 100 yards.
Bobby Z, there's a lot of history between these two teams, going back to the 90s. I mean, can I take it back to 95? Because I remember watching this. I was in high school. The 49ers just won the Super Bowl. The Green Bay Packers were this up-and-coming team led by Coach Mike Holmgren and Brett Favre. And they go into San Francisco, and I remember Adam Walker, who had a broken arm, Craig Newsome with the fumble recovery, and it really set the tone in that game. And the Green Bay Packers stunned the 49ers. And since 95, 96 was in Lambeau, that was just the mud bowl where Steve Young just looked awful. And then 97, the 49ers had the number 1 seed. Green Bay comes into Candlestick. That was a very special game, Bobby Z. You were telling me that you were there for the NFC Championship in 97?
Yeah, I actually was there. That was back when people could afford those tickets. But yeah, I was actually at that game, and it was great to. It's always fun to go to road games anyway. But San Francisco, and to come out of there with a win, it was really special.
They did meet again in the playoffs in 01, but this was a Jeff Garcia-led team. I didn't expect the 49ers to be in the playoffs. Brett Favre, he was doing his thing. They did lose to the Falcons, but you go fast forward to 2012, the Aaron Rodgers era. Green Bay already won a Super Bowl, but the 49ers, led by Jim Harbaugh, had a quarterback by the name of Colin Kaepernick who ran for over 180 yards, set the rushing record for quarterbacks. I know that I'm bringing up bad memories, Bobby.
He's still running.
Yeah. But the thing is, the 49ers have beaten the Packers the last 4 playoffs, so you've had success, complete dominance by the Packers in the 90s, and then all of a sudden the 49ers have won 4 straight playoff games. But looking at these two teams and the way they match up in this game, Green Bay is the first number 7 seed to make it into the divisional round, to win a playoff game. And yes, the 49ers have the number 1 seed, and they have the overall home field advantage in the NFC. And I'll be honest with you, I'm excited as a 49ers fan because Dallas and Philadelphia are both out. But if Green Bay can find a way to get the upset against San Francisco, I think their path could be a little bit easier because they'll await the winner of Tampa Bay and Detroit. They're very familiar with Detroit. I mean, they can beat Detroit in Detroit. These two NFC North rivals play each other a lot. And then if it is Tampa Bay and Green Bay, I mean, you get to play Tampa Bay in that nice weather in January. So this is actually a possible chance. I mean, we've seen the Steelers as a number 6 seed win the Super Bowl. Green Bay as a number 6 seed won the Super Bowl in 2010. Remember that Aaron Rodgers just was playing lights out, and they destroyed the Falcons in that 2010 season.
Did it all on the road, kind of like what they would have to do this time. What's interesting, Favre could never beat the Cowboys. Rodgers couldn't beat the Niners. Jordan Love beat the Cowboys last week, and now he's got a shot right in 2 weeks. He could take that monkey off of both of their shoulders. And did you catch what Nick Bosa, or which Bosa you guys? Is it Joey?
No, we got Nick.
Nick, okay, I was right. Nick said something interesting yesterday, and I hope it caught Aaron Rodgers' ear. He basically said that, Jordan Love is doing quite a good job as he's playing within the system. And it was kind of a shot at Aaron Rodgers, because Rodgers was known to audible quite a bit, call his own stuff at the line. So taking what Bosa said, I would think it will be a little bit more challenging for you guys to play the Packers this time around, because Jordan Love is operating within the system. And I wanted to see LaFleur's system. When I was down in Atlanta, LaFleur was with Atlanta as their quarterbacks coach. And my partner, Pun, was extremely upset when they let him leave to go to Tennessee and be the OC there. LaFleur was a little young at the time, so I don't think they wanted to go that route for that reason. I know LaFleur has a great offensive mind, just like Shanahan does. They come from the same book. I wanted to see LaFleur's offense the last few years while Rodgers was there. I don't think I saw it. I'm seeing it now, and I'm very, very pleased. This game, again, it'll be a classic matchup. I'm actually glad we're on the road because, boy, I'm telling you, it's cold here. Last 2 days, it was 10 below zero. I think the high maybe made it to zero, but it's been cold. So I'm kind of glad it's there. We're not supposed to be there, Richard. We're a bunch of kids that don't know no better. So as a Packer fan, hardcore since I was born, I've already seen what I needed to see this year. Goody's got 5 bullets in the top 93 picks. After next season, watch out. This team, and I'm going to go on record saying it, so please keep this on tape, is going to be loaded. The Packers will be very, very scary if Goody nails this next draft. And I believe he will. He nailed the last one. He's doing pretty damn good. So I got to think he's going to come away with a few more gems in this upcoming draft. And the future is looking very, very bright here in Wisconsin. And shame on you, Packer fans, because a lot of you did not trust in Goody. You were upset when they traded Adams. You were upset when they traded Rodgers. You were extremely upset when they drafted Jordan Love. So to the many, many Packer fans that were on that train, I got a big bowl of crow for you all to eat. Next time, and this might be a word of advice from an old guy to a lot of you younger people, learn the word patience. Have some patience. Let the kid do his job. And if he can't do his job after 2-3 years, light him up. But let the kid, and I said kid, if it was your kid, wouldn't you want to give him a chance? Let him have a chance before you start firing people. We're so damn quick to fire people these days. Let the man do his job, and then in a year or 2 or 3, critique away. Richard, it's going to be a hell of a game. It's going to be a good one. But like I said, if we don't get you off our back this time, in the next couple of years, we're going to.
It should be a fun game. I cannot wait. 8 o'clock Eastern time on Fox down at Levi Stadium. I'll be hopefully in front of the TV. I'm actually calling a basketball game for Georgia Alabama Sports Live, but I should be back in time to see that game. I can't wait. I'm very impressed with how Jordan Love just completely improved this season, and it's amazing.
It really is. I mean, to go from where he was the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, they're sitting at 2-5 after week 7. There's people losing their minds here, and he completely turned it around. And it's not an easy thing to do. But I'll tell you something, man. I went to the Lions game. I think it was the 4th game of the season. He couldn't breathe back there. The offensive line was a sieve. He got the crap beat out of him. The offensive line is light years ahead of where they were from that game. He's had time. And that, that's where it starts, in the trenches. And if you don't give, especially a kid who's a first-year starter, if you don't give him time, the results are not going to be good. He's gotten the time. And boy, the results have been pretty damn good, man.
I know that you're excited about Green Bay, but being up in Wisconsin, I mean, you also have the Bucks. It's Dame time up there. I know you're a big Bucks fan. Last time I had you on the show, we talked about that championship parade. And I saw them beat the Boston Celtics, and they just annihilated them. How big of a win was that as far as making a statement that we are the team to beat in the Eastern Conference? Yeah, sure, the Boston Celtics have Drew Holiday, but the Bucks have Dame time, and I think that's a perfect running mate with Giannis.
Yeah, it's been challenging for them to mesh together at the same time. Dame's never been in this situation where he's had a superstar alongside him that can penetrate and can take the ball up the court, i.e., a point forward. So Dame's had some difficulties adjusting, and I think Giannis has too. That game against Boston the other night, I was at that game, and I go to all the Bucks games. That's what I do. And Boston, all fairness, and they came off a back-to-back, and they played in overtime the night before against Minnesota. It was a very, very good team, by the way. And that's why you didn't see the Celtics first five in the game in the second half. The game was already out of hand, and they were pretty well spent. But yes, they were. Excuse me. The Bucks are coming off. I think they lost 3 out of 4, and they were there were people starting to call for, again, fire Griffin. People that want people to get fired right away. And they did need that game. They needed it because otherwise they'd have fell 5 games behind them. Instead, they're 3, so they're still within reaching distance. If that matters anymore, home court advantage in the NBA doesn't seem to matter in the playoffs anymore. So, but I do believe they will do something at the trade deadline. They're probably going to go look for a wing, like everybody wants a 3-and-D player, but. It should come down to, in the East, Boston and Milwaukee at the end. And hopefully, after 82 games, Dame and Giannis will be even more comfortable than they already appear to be getting. So I'm still excited about the Bucks and their future. But the future is now for them because they're starting to get a little long in the tooth. They're getting a little old.
Bobby Z, and finally, there's a big college football game is going to be in your state in 2024. Week 3, the Alabama Crimson Tide is going to be going to Camp Randall Stadium to take on the Wisconsin Badgers. It's a new era in Alabama football. They just have a new coach, Kalen DeBoer. The Nick Saban era is over. I know that you covered a lot of college football when you were down in Columbus, Georgia, being the host of the Press Box with Bobby Z. But how excited are Wisconsin fans that they are hosting Alabama at Camp Randall Stadium next season?
Oh, yeah, that'll be fun. I don't think Alabama will be jumping around. We do the jump around thing up there quite a bit because of what a week, hey? Saban's gone. Belichick's gone. Who would have thought? But the game is changing. And that's, we talk about why another time. But, yeah, very excited about Alabama coming up to Wisconsin. Would have loved to have seen it be played at Lambeau, but I can see why they're keeping it in Madison. But yeah, it should be fun. It's cool that an SEC team is coming up to Wisconsin to play, and especially a team of the caliber and program of Alabama. I'm going to try to actually make that one. I'm an NFL guy, and I don't go to too many college games up here. I just don't make it. But I think I might go to that one just because it'll be fun to be at.
Well, it is always a pleasure having you here on the Sports Beat. And Bobby Z, I just want to say I really appreciate what you have done for the city of Columbus, because I do believe without the Press Box with Bobby Z, we don't get stars like Josh Pate, Buckets, Jonathan Rivers, Thrift Berger. I know they all got their start from the Press Box of Bobby Z, and I am just blessed that I've got to know your colleagues, and I've worked with them in the last couple of years that I've been in broadcasting in Columbus, and I really had fun just having you here on the show, talking some NFL football, some NBA, and we want to definitely have you back. Thrift Berger and I do a show on the Georgia Alabama Sports live show that we do every week, and we want to try to get you back on, and so we can have a show and really just talk about your broadcasting career in Columbus and really where it took you from there and really just your career in general. And it would be great catching up, and because I know that you mean the world to Thrift, having that opportunity at the press box of Bobby Z, and it really mean a lot to me as well. Just learning the history of broadcasting in Columbus.
All those guys you mentioned, including yourself, I'm vicariously living through you guys now, because I hung up my headphones when I left there, and I haven't been on since. The only time I have been on is with you. I am so proud of all those guys. It's to see Josh on CBS doing what he's doing. Rock on, guys. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. I'm proud of you. Thanks, Richard. I'll talk with you next week, okay?
Absolutely. Always a pleasure. Bobby Z, everybody, from the press box with Bobby Z, one of the pioneers in broadcasting in Columbus, and we're looking forward to having him on the Georgia-Alabama Sports Live show next week. Thank you, everybody, for watching another episode of the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the podcast. I am found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts. Hope everybody has a great rest of your night.